Rules were preventing you from doing stuff. So I took it off.
Nice. Yeah, I charge $9.99 for my services, but I do accept payment plans.
All right, I'll catch you on the YouTube sub.
All right. Thank you.
Also takes not acid donations. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And blood. Okay.
Did you say blood?
Yeah.
Trying to get into the Adrena business, brother. Me and Shane was trying to start something last night to like maybe help the elite out so that they don't have to use children for it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're RH negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Hey, Alan, so let's see if you can pass the test. Is wave a noun or a verb?
Both, dude. It propagates around the globe through a infinite salt gradient.
Dude.
What the?
What are you, a Glover now? No, give a real.
What?
He like assumes everyone knows the answer. No. We're in a situation where you actually have to answer.
Oh, I'll say. Sorry, go ahead. What is it? Who is a verb?
Is wave a noun or a verb?
Let's see. Verb. A word used to describe an action. I would say that it is a verb.
Nice. So can nothing wave?
Well, if nothing's waving, then that can't be the thing that it is, right? Or whatever.
That's sound reasoning.
Hey, if I can wave you a hand, does that mean I can hand you a wave?
Hey.
It's the best one. It's the best way to cut it.
It's a great one. I put it in the presentation and like the notes somewhere.
Yeah, shout out to Good Times for All. That's who I got it from.
Well, the handshake takes care of both of it.
Dude, with Alan's doing another presentation soon on laser interferometry on the whole thanks Bob thing, so we can finally expose that for what it is.
Oh, dude,
very cool.
Speaking of that, dog, check out your boy GPS. We can all thank Wang now. How do I send a file in VC? Is that possible? Or in the stream chat?
Should be.
Now. Wait.
Yeah, we can all thank Wang for telling us how satellites actually work and how they don't account for relativistic effects. Oh, it won't let me send a file.
Does that mean you need link embed roll, probably?
I don't know. I'll send it on Telegram.
Okay, I'll put it in.
Yeah. Can I just say, because I feel like this has been skipped over, but wasn't that session called All Your Interferometry Are Belong to Us?
Yes.
Indubitably, my good sir. That is the name of the presentation.
I feel like that needs mentioning. There we go.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be thanking a lot of people here soon, and it won't be for the globular reasons.
Nice. Well, hopefully they'll leave me off their website this time.
Well, I still like Walter's call out to you. I like it because it shows his ignorance of how they derived the model in the first place, so it's like extra delicious.
I thought it was gay, but each their own.
He named you specific. How does the azimuthal grid of vision know its latitude? And it's like, aha, backwards engineered that shit. That's how the whole model is built, from elevation angles to Polaris. So how did it know? How did you know, Walter? Come on.
Is that what he said? I kind of just got word of mouth about it.
Dude, that's exactly what it says verbatim. And isn't it funny? Now that you know his big refutation to it, you're like, aw, dude.
That's very underwhelming, yeah.
Well, Walty, please.
Dude, you gotta admit that thinks Walter did its job, dude.
Dude, yeah.
So upset.
Dude, we'll be thanking Walter, too.
It's my Discord status forever, dude. Thanks, Walter.
Dude, Bob would be so proud, dude.
Yeah, between that, taking the heat off, and then actually understanding that Thanks Bob has something called, laser interferometry, which is involved, like, if you measure it with a Sagnac interferometer, you have a differential two-way speed of light, which is known and measured, and something that they should have to account for, because everyone knows, the speed of light at sea is constant, and everything is built upon that. So if that, has a two-way differential speed, then everything's kind of fucked.
I feel like, did you say that there was a guy called Wang who said about
Wu Yang Wang?
Yeah,
it's Wang.
So I feel like what you can do is you can come up with a new flat Earth documentary, call it Breaking Flat, and then the main lead character could be Walter Wang, and then he can kind of look a bit like Walter White. You know, like instead of like
Breaking Wang.
Earth or whatever, he's like making flat Earth maps in a lab.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, I am about to start a production company called Etheric Productions.
Right, well, I'm copywriting that idea.
Okay, I'll be sure and give you no credit. But no, because the first one's going to be like the NASA documentary. But I think we need to make a lot. I mean, like Sean Hibbler's kind of holding the torch by himself, and you know, we have different styles. I think I can make a dope movie. So I think I'm going to start the company. It takes some balls to actually invest money into something flat Earth related. Let's just say that.
I just say, Austin, keep the control tight. You know, like Chris did with Helo Sorcery. They had 3 people did a 103-minute documentary. So keep it tight. Keep control. Trust people you give the realms to, reigns to, and just keep it in everything you can prove, because that's what we're all about. What we can prove.
Oh, I'm going to end up doing a documentary about the ether too. So.
Dude, they're still fighting it to this day. They say that the Sagnac device references what's it called? Background stars instead of just admitting that there's a median an absolute reference frame, dog.
How crazy
Yeah,
is
dude.
the actual answer? Oh,
Yeah,
man.
dude, they invoke. Well, that's not even the actual answer, bro. There's 12 different ones you could choose from. So, what's your favorite interpretation of the Sagnac effect that fits and conforms to relativistic interpretation?
Can I have
That sounds so scientific.
Can I have the Gemini Sagnac effect, please?
Yes.
All the different like ad hoc, like just the ad hoc explanations for why does the measurement of the satellite, why does the motion go higher speed one way and not the other, like consistently everywhere? What?
It's one of the most fascinating subjects in fake stream physics, where like they're trying to explain this effect and make it conform to relativity. It's actually a mindfuck.
And of
Use
course,
coupon code delusion.
it's one of those things that they say like proves relativity. So again, like the case file that every time they say that, it actually proves the opposite.
Yeah, it actually debunks relativity.
Dude,
proves flat Earth.
Satellites debunk it according to our boy Wang. Based on the equations that they use, they don't account for any relativistic effects in the coordinate system. So get this, dog. So the preferred coordinate system is the Earth-centered inertial frame. And what that means, the TLDR is stationary, non-rotating, right? And then they need to transfer that into the Earth-fixed, Earth-centered coordinate system, which implies the rotation, right? But the way that they account for the rotation is information that's propagating from west to east is faster than information that's going east to west. So they the way that they calculate it in the range measurement equation is through this right here, right? Second. So I posted it in text chat. So what they do, all that's doing is like the absolute value of the time that the transmission is received or sent and received and stuff. They don't use any relativity shit. And then they subtract the time of the reception and the transmission from C, and then like that's the equivalent of balancing out the Sagnac effect without using any relativistic effects. And your boy Wang's like, this is hardcore proof that that GPS disproves relativity theory, doesn't work with it. And he goes on about a bunch of other stuff and the Sagnac effect. But yeah, they have to account for this faster propagation for everything to be accurate. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as accurate. It would be off by like at least 30 meters, according to Wang. And they have it down to like 0.01 millimeters in terms of accuracy.
Well,
So it's only explicitly super accurate because they ignore all the fucking shit that we're told about time dilation and all that shit.
Well, at least you kept it shorter than the Schwarzschild metric, so thanks, Alan.
Yeah, it's a shorter metric. But yeah, if you were to add relativity effects to that shit, it would be off. It wouldn't work. And also, and so with the Earth-centered inertial frame, right? When they transform out of that, it should be invariant. It should be an invariant transformation, meaning the distance that's derived from that shouldn't change when you go to a new coordinate system. But guess what, dog? It changes because it's not accounted for correctly in the Earth rotating system. So the Earth-centered, the non-rotating stationary one is the preferred reference frame, dog. So everything else is moving relative to us, and or would be like an ether wind that's making it go faster west to east. Like that's what they're accounting for, essentially, but they're calling it Earth rotation.
Well, yeah, that is true. Because we do know, of course, there is a rotation. So those get triggered when they hear the word ether. Because they're still in 2016.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, it's hard not to be like, if once you look into this, it's hard to like not be like, oh yeah, there's definitely an ether, because they've literally built technology around it and just lied to everyone about it and said that it's Earth rotation. But their but all their mathematics goes back to the Earth-centered inertial frame. And what they say, so they show you this nice graphic, and they're like, haha, it's the center of the ball, and it doesn't feel any. Oh, I can't post in there, but post this for me, Shane, when you get a sec. It's in Miswits. They're like, we're at the center of the ball, therefore we're still on a ball or whatever. But what they're actually, the purpose of the whole thing is just so that they're at the center, so that they don't experience any rotation or motion. So like, stationary, non-rotating, but so it doesn't matter that they're in the center of an imaginary ball. Like the reference frame itself is what's important,
Well, the stationary reference frame is always the best, dude, because that's how they do the celestial navigation transformation when they go from an azimuthal Cartesian coordinate system to like a cylindrical one with infinite height. And like, infinite height, that sounds familiar. Didn't they have to make the math work out for the celestial bodies by pushing them to near infinite distances? Wait, isn't that how the mathematics works? Oh, it's exactly that, right? It's amazing.
But yeah, check out that paper though, Witsit. Like, you'll fucking smash that. Next time you need a free stream or something, just read that verbatim and on the fly, and you'll just knock out GPS for free.
Nah, cool, will do. But you dropped it in my Telegram?
Yep.
Okay, I'm like detailing my car, so I can't really look at it.
Oh yeah, you're straight, bro. But yeah, it's a banger, easy layup.
Who's this Yang guy? Does he know the Earth doesn't move by now, or what's he doing?
I mean, dog, he has an extensive body of work thoroughly debunking, relativity. But like in that nice academic way where he's like, "Hey guys, there's like a problem here if anyone wants to look." You know what I mean? He's very subtle about it, but he's, just straight up tells you that there's a problem. And he's built some so he did the linear Sagnac effect too, right? So you know how they say Michelson-Morley was a null result and it's always trending towards zero, but the actual reason for that is because they changed the way that they do the experiment so that it specifically trends towards zero. Because if anyone did it the way that Dayton Miller did it, they would all realize that they're, went down a real path of darkness.
That's why we need to redo that.
So we'll check your boy out. Your boy Ryu Wang already did it. He did a linear Sagnac effect and derived the circular effect from it. So like he definitely showed that there's like he also measured the one-way speed of light apparently too. But I haven't read that paper yet. But that's one of the other things he did. Like the dude's a legend, He worked with Ron Hatch
I doesn't
too.
have a speed, but that's interesting. Okay.
Well, yeah, but the propagation speed, like the preferred direction, rather, right? Because when it's propagating in a certain direction, like it
that's
is
it, dude.
like measurably.
The rate of induction. Yeah.
Right.
The rate of induction has a preferred direction. How interesting is that?
Yeah, and that's it right there.
Makes sense because it's the background. The background has a preferred direction.
Yeah.
I mean, would it be the same? What's this? What is this preferred direction?
The preferred direction is west to east, like as if it was Earth
like
rotation,
or like they with just the movement of the sky. In other words, right?
Right. Yeah. They just do the inversion.
All right, that's what I was assuming because that makes sense. Of course, there's movement within the background. Light is the background. So.
Yep. Yeah, and that's also why there's not a tailwind. If the ether is light, there wouldn't be a tailwind either. That's what you were talking about.
I feel like everyone else just kind of went quiet.
No, I mean, you guys are. I'm really enjoying the conversation. I don't know about anyone else, but I love listening to this stuff. So for me, it's not a problem.
Well, it's an entirely different subject that was talked about in 2014, 2015. So it's brand new to a lot of people. I mean, even most people who believe we live on a stationary plane have never heard of this stuff. I mean, Alan brought a lot of, with this How Math Became Reality, brought a lot of that open. That's just been the last 3 or 4 months. And then, Austin hasn't been around forever, and Shane and Austin have been working on what the Southern Star Trails are doing for us, and that was never ever done. So a lot of this is new. So just soak it in and enjoy it.
Yeah, interferometry is going to be like a new meta for us.
That's why I love the title, dude. All your interferometry.
Yeah, like
us. It's funny, it's on point, it's descriptive, and it's a meme. It's like the best trifecta you can hope for, dude, in a presentation title.
You know what's so funny about this is Bob was saying this for like 2 years, dude. He was like, "No, dude, it does exist. We have technology that literally depends upon."
Dude, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, man. I never got to talk to him or anything, and to be honest with you, dude, like the interferometry was kind of like the boogeyman. Like I never wanted to really look at it because I was like, it's too intimidating and all that shit. And like they're probably fucking around, and it's not exactly whatever. So it wasn't like a make or break for me, but it was something that I didn't really want to mess with. And then now that I started looking into it, it's so obvious. It's the coolest subject ever. They literally have technology around it that helps them navigate on the plane, and they just tell everybody that with a double measurement that it's Earth rotation on a globe. Because what I think's happening is after they pass the equator, it's the way that the device would have to be tilted or whatever to stay in alignment with the North Pole or whatever. It's not like equaling back out in the way that it would in the North. I think it's just continuing both of them together. It's not gonna be like symmetrical with the globe. You know what I mean? And I think that's why they like the device itself is like classified and all that, because it comes with like the navigational devices that they use for all this stuff that they say is like proves Earth rotation or whatever. And how they work is they have a data sheet called the Kalman data sheet, and this Kalman data sheet, and actually it's like more than just a data sheet. It's a set of algorithms and everything that they use for corrections and all this shit. But basically, the Kalman thing, if it's measuring the ether, right, and it's just calibrating towards like how much less drift it's picking up because it's further away from the North Pole, like the center of the main focus of the ether. If it's just calibrating against that and it's not actually doubling back up to like be symmetrical with the globe, then like that's a body bag right there. But like we'll obviously never have access to that data sheet, but like that makes sense as to why it's classified, right? Because that would be like you couldn't argue that that's a game over ether vortex measurement.
Yeah, exactly. This is so funny too, man, because that's why Bob got so triggered about like the parlor trick and all that. Because he's like, bro, this is like a lethal weapon. It's not something that should be attacked.
It is. It's like it's the most profound proof ever, dog. Like they literally measured it thousands of times, built technology, and then they just lied to everyone and said that they didn't. Said that it's due to something else. Crazy.
Yeah, if some of you ever want to get into what the interferometer does and those experiments, a real fun thing to do is, you'll learn quickly on Michelson Morley, but as Alan has done, he's done a deep dive into Dayton Miller. Dayton Miller basically solidified what Michelson Morley said, and then you'll run into whether you believe it was 1931 or 1952 when Robert Shanklin, who was hired by Einstein, who lived till 1955, basically told Shanklin, let's go out and destroy Dayton Miller's work, and and Shanklin came back and said that all of Einstein's work confirmed special relativity. So if you just want to look into what Alan's looked into with Dayton Miller, that's a really great thing.
Yeah, Einstein himself point blank said that if we are to accept Dayton Miller's result as true, it refutes relativity. He said experiment reigns supreme, and it would topple relativity.
Yeah, it's toppled, man. Like it's over.
Yeah, thinking about this, like I was bringing this up, and people were like, "What? Why would flat earthers be investing in a parlor trick test?" I'm like, buddy, if you replicate Dayton Miller, the whole entire house of cards collapses.
Yeah, it would be over, dude. Just start doing analogous experiments to what he did. Like, it would be over, dog.
That's why they had to go out, and I guess he did most of his work 1926, 1929, and that's why they had to go out and destroy him. And they hired a hitman. They literally
while he was alive, his data couldn't be refuted. Every time somebody would talk shit, he would go and do like 1.5 million experiments and control every variable, account for everything, be the most precise person possible, and refute their claims. And they had to wait until he died. And then even in Shanklin's papers, where he's refuting Miller, he says that he doesn't even have the enough temperature information to make the claims that he's making about it, because he basically dismissed it all and said that Dayton Miller didn't know about a temperature gradient or whatever. And it's like, all right, dude. Not only did he explicitly did millions of interferometry tests, accounting for that in different ways. Like he would do experiments where he had his assistant taking the measurements in different spots to see if like body heat would affect it. He had direct heat lamps on it, different types of heat sources on it.
Yeah, exactly. He put the heat sources directly on it in multiple different ways to show that it doesn't account for because basically Einstein was trying to say it's instrumental error, and they think it's because of temperature fluctuation. And so he's like, oh, let's see if that's true. And he was putting radiant heat sources right on it in different proximities with different materials, and he proved that it is not causing the effect.
Dude, and that's why when he compares his data to the sidereal rotation instead of the the seasonal effects, like basically the daily temperature fluctuations, when he compares it to the sidereal rotation, what do you know? It matches the sky.
Oh my god, it's almost like everything's based on that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like this place actually makes sense or something.
Yeah.
But as George Wall said in 1954, I do not want to believe in God, so I will believe in something that is scientifically impossible. And
is that a real quote?
And
yes.
Oh my god!
I kind of have it. I have it a little bit in my head, so it's just going off my head. I have it over to my left, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. But he actually said that I will believe in something that is scientifically impossible, because I do not want to believe in God. And that's the whole idea. If you believe in God and you believe stationary plane, then we have a creator who created this just for us.
That's clutch. We should meme that. That's just another example of how it's a philosophical framework that they choose to perceive instead of anything.
Well, that was in the context of evolution.
Yes, it was. It was a creation versus evolution, exactly. But that's kind of what we're fighting. Even though some Christians think God made a spinning space ball, even though the Bible doesn't say that, it does come down to the ball, which is evolutionary, versus the stationary plane, which is more creation oriented.
Yeah, I mean, the trick they do, the sleight of hand, is they compartmentalize it all and act as if it's not interconnected. So they do this, like, even with evolution, they're like, oh, but abiogenesis is over here, evolution's over here. They're like, oh, but it works on the solar system. Let's not talk about the rest of our made-up cosmology, right? They do this with every single part of it. They separate it, but the truth is, it's all interconnected. You need billions of years to have evolution, to have abiogenesis, to have the Big Bang. It's a big bundle package. You need all of it to explain what they really want to explain, which is existence without creation, without a creator, right? That's the actual truth. That's why I respect Lawrence Krauss, or like this other guy you invoked, because they'll point blank tell you, well, like, I mean, I just don't want to believe in God, bro. Like, at least they say that. Like, we have to explain it without God, my guy.
And to some degree, Krauss, if I understand Krauss right, is he kind of makes fun of his belief system. You know, it's like he's out there spouting it, and then he's making fun of it at the same time. That's what somebody told me back in January, who is a physicist. He said that Krauss is actually kind of a joke because he's making fun of his own belief system. He's on interviews laughing about it. Yeah, this is what I believe. Ha 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 ha. And it must be true.
That dude guaranteed has done some super dark stuff, in my opinion. And that so he has to just find any little thing he can in his mind to convince himself that maybe he won't be held morally accountable. Because he point blank said in the principle, he's like, bro, we're looking out to the whole universe, and it's lining up with the Earth. He's like, it would truly show that the Earth is in the center of the universe. This could be the end of the Copernican principle. That's crazy, or something to that effect. Like, he point blank says it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like some of them do know. They just ignore
it. A scientific framework through a philosophical lens. What?
Yeah.
No, it's all philosophical. They choose to see it that way. Like, when it comes down to it, if all things are equal and they're not, but if they were, they would choose one belief that they prefer, and that's what they do continuously. That's crazy.
That's why it devolves into just straight nonsense, like solipsism, where it's like you cannot know anything. Well, you can't prove anything. Well, nothing's 100%. They're like as if something being 99.9999999% is different than just saying that you proved it, right? Like, or as if the odds are that something's true is 1%, that's the same as if it's 99.99. You know, like they throw out the solipsism, get out of jail card. And that's why. That's because they have to be able to leave a window of just straight bullshit.
That kind of makes sense when you explain it like that.
It's what astrophysicist Ashkar King Singal said. He said the apparent alignment in the cosmic microwave background is one particular direction through space is called, quote, evil, because it undermines our ideas about the standard cosmological model. The Copernican principles to be in jeopardy. So our position is deemed evil.
Yeah, you know what's funny, bro, is that geocentrism PowerPoint I did, it is such a death blow.
It is.
Just that alone, that one PowerPoint can never be let to see the light of day. You know, like literally just one PowerPoint.
Yeah, I know you. I know you put 3.5 hours into that podcast, and we appreciate it. And but that I think it was geocentrism, and that thing just hit home. And I have no life, so I have about 60 of those. That I Photoshop and
yeah. Well, I dropped the whole PowerPoint in my Telegram finally, but it took me way longer than 3 hours to make that thing, dude. I'll tell you that.
I know.
Dude, I mean, we already screenshotted all of them and memed them, and I added them in compilation to everyone's Telegram, so we could easily share. I figured we wouldn't let all that good work go to waste, dude.
No.
Yeah, what's crazy is I was making each meme individually on Canva, so I was scouring the internet for the best quality picture I could find of a person, and then making the meme, and I was having to find, and then I was going and fact checking each one in context to make sure that the ones I had written down, I was double checking again to make sure they were in context with the original sources. So it was many hours.
If somebody took Austin's meme work from that geocentrism, which was extensive, I don't know, 80, I don't know how many there were, and you take
108.
108. If you take those
108.
If you take those and add them on to heliosorcery and add them on to what Omar Trudeau did in 2018, and actually made a PDF out of that, you could literally have 150, maybe 200 quotes that you could show to anybody, and it would be so powerful. They couldn't leave that PDF without being changed somehow, unless they were just totally gone.
Yeah, you got to be suffering from some serious cactus to freaking read those slides and then just walk away unscathed.
I didn't know it was 108. I only got 65. My bad.
It's 108 slides. I think so there's probably 4 slides that are other things. I put a picture of Einstein and I said, this is the guy, but this is the guy who came up with special relativity to try to refute geocentrism, and then ended up having to propose general relativity, which said geocentrism is valid. Awkward. I just wrote that. So there's a few of them like that, and there's probably like 4 sites. So there's probably like just over 100 actual quotes.
There goes Shane with his memes, so all that good information.
Yeah, I was just showing you that it's all the work's done. You can just go click on them and grab them.
Everybody in the chat, copy it.
Is the link to this video anywhere?
It's on my channel. Yeah, geocentrism.
Yeah. When was that? November last year? December?
I don't know. That was brutal reading all of those, though.
It was. At the end, you could tell you were tired.
Yeah, man. My voice was even giving out. So, and then if I get a $5 super chat, someone says I'm a Masonic shill.
Well, everyone's a shill nowadays, so you can't really.
How dare you work for tons of hours and get a $5 super chat and not even get the $5?
Yeah, you can have 220 super chat. That's what you deserve. Have a cup of coffee. Yeah, I found the link. There it is. Yeah, that's a really good, really long one. A really productive, like information packed and like impactful stream. One of the best.
Yeah, thank you. That's one of the main ones I send people. I either people that are like clearly like on the brink of maybe being able to open their mind. I send them that or the interview with Robertson Jennings. And that's why I think it's so funny. I have people, I'll just say like QE saying I'm a traitor to flat Earth because I sat on there with him and granted him, quote unquote, all these fairy tales about space and stuff. That's how he views it, is that it's detrimental to flat Earth. And it's like one of the number one videos I send people now. So we obviously don't agree.
Yeah, no, it just sounds like someone's butthurt, to be honest, just throwing my opinion out there. But like, it was a great conversation. Yeah, it was a great conversation that I watched all of without even like any interest of any vested interest. It was simply entertaining, and like the exchange level and just the elevated concepts are going around. Granted, him was one thing. People wanted to just shout at him that it was flat. That would have shut down the whole conversation. The dude was having a jolly time. He wasn't on his guard. That would have put his guard up and ruined the whole thing. People are stupid.
Dude, I did it so perfect, dude. I just said so myself. Yeah, like I like.
He's so close, dude. Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying he's so close though, too. Like it's.
No, he's not though. He's been in that state. He's been in that position for like 20 years.
I know, but so the other thing
he's out of there, buddy.
Yeah, the other thing too is you kind of have to wonder if his Catholic programming is too far. It's just too hard coded into him.
It is, because way back when in like 2015, 2016, they were putting the video that he made on blast, and they were saying, see all this information on how the Earth doesn't move and then how twisted the heliocentric model is, and it's actually geocentric, but then you can like take a step into flat Earth. They actually Celebrate Truth, I think he had a whole bunch of videos put out, and they actually shut him down and saying, you can't use our shit because it's copyright. And then he was like, all right, well, how about this? How about instead I publish your videos, but I link everything to you, and then admit up front that y'all are not flat earthers. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. So they've already experienced the flat earth being pushed into their field of view, but they reject it wholeheartedly.
Right, and that's,
yeah, okay,
that's kind of
how
like.
do you think the combo would have gone between him and QE?
It would have been like an Oprah show.
Yeah. I mean, there would have been no show. He would have left within 5 minutes.
Yep.
So sometimes you got to put your pride aside and be tactical, you know?
Yeah, but then he would have claimed victory and like touted that as a victory and said, dude, that's just like a whole different like atmosphere to live in. That whole thing is crazy. It's much better to have an actual conversation, right? What the hell?
You're not trying to take war trophies, dog?
Scalping people?
He was out there scalping, dog.
Yo, and he agreed to do a FE debate.
Yeah, see, that would be interesting.
No way. Did he?
Yeah, at the end of that video, I'm like, but of course I do strongly disagree with you.
So I don't. Do I think immediately the day after you talked to him, or somewhere thereafter, an interview, a debate he did against the flat earther Dustin Emos surfaced on like BitChute and stuff. So
It was right before.
Was it?
That
It
debate
seemed
was
like
right before.
yeah, it seemed like it came out right at the same time. So he's
It was
open
like
to doing
literally 2 days
debate,
before.
and he
Yeah,
got
but that's what I'm saying. I saw part of that. I'm like, that's exactly what I don't want to happen.
right.
And not to
Right.
mention, like Dustin made a few arguments that he's wrong about. So
I
anyway,
know.
I was just like, I was like, yo, I would rather just bury heliocentrism in depth. Kind of tip my hat to him because he did a lot to help me out. You know, he found stuff after searching for years. He found stuff that we needed. He found like Newton's final proposition. He found like Copernicus's original handwriting and Galileo's original handwriting letters that got removed, and
Dude,
like these are
not
super valuable things.
Oh,
not for
you
nothing,
have
dude.
his
But
books
the
on
library
PDF?
behind him. Sorry, dude. Go ahead, Alan.
I was going to say, do you have his books on PDF? What's it?
No,
Okay.
Dude,
I'm
like
going to look for him later.
the comparison of the library behind Robert Sugenis when you interviewed him was like massive to someone who actually he does like Professor Parks. He had like a fifth of the books behind him. Just saying, just something I noticed.
I think I have one of his books on PDF.
Nice. Yeah, I want to read that or get the citations for it so I could, use that to add that to the arsenal.
I can see the PDF when I get to the house.
All right, sweet. Yeah, there was a lot of great stuff in there.
And like, I would like to see Robert debate somebody again because he totally lost to Skiba. It was hilarious.
So at the end, after I like made it where it was pretty much impossible for him not to like me, that's when I slid flat Earth in. And then I'm like, yeah, the Earth's a stationary topographical plane, and we're within a toroid, and that explains the ellipses and blah blah. And then we agreed to debate. I'm like, we'll have to have a conversation in the future. We talk about what we disagree on. He said, sounds good. You bring your guns, I bring mine.
Right. Yeah. But like
So
when he took that position against Nemo, he started acting a little bit or a lot different, like way more angry. He got uptight, he got emotional, he got like I guess that's normal, definitely not a professional debater, but he seemed way nastier than he did on your show.
That's why I did what I did. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, so I think if we have a conversation now, like he has to kind of show me some intellectual respect. He was like, "Oh, damn, you know all the terms." I'm like, "Dude, I'm holding back."
Hold me down, son.
He's like, I said sidereal. He was impressed. I'm like, buddy, chill. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be cool.
Sidereal's an easy one, though.
But like, I knew all the concepts of Newtonian mechanics, relational mechanics, and the equivalents and stuff, and so.
Yeah, there's way better stuff to be impressed that than the word sidereal, I guess is the point.
Yeah, it was just early on. I guess I was saying this stuff, and then I slid. He was like, "Oh, you even know all the right terms." I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
He probably talks to dribbling retards all the time, and then he's like, "Oh, shit! Someone knows what they're talking about. What the fuck?"
Yeah. Like he talked to like FTFE at one point, and FTFE didn't know any of the basics. So I think he's just used to having to like walk people through it, and so he's like, "Oh wait, you're familiar." Yeah, a little bit. But a lot of my quotes I found for geocentrism I got from him, and a lot of the quotes even came from the principal, like the interviews they did. Like that's like that's a very valuable thing. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I'm like in the grand scheme of things, you're willing to like kind of let your I won't be vulgar, but you're willing to like step out in the face of everyone else. You see what I'm saying? And like at the least, being able to do that for that long and being ostracized and called all these crazy names and stuff, you are on our team in that sense. That you don't have to conform as much, right? Like that deserves some acknowledgement, right? I mean, he was doing it before it was cool. You know what I'm saying? He was doing it long before 2016.
Dude, imagine though being I can't get over this part. Imagine knowing what he knows, where like right on the edge of like flat earthism, if that's the thing, right on the edge, knowing geocentrism is true, knowing heliocentrism is a lie, knowing the great lengths to which the great majority of the scientific community has gone to hide, otherwise obfuscate and or misdirect like the general public's knowledge on the things that he knows. How has he stayed in that stage for 20 years and not come to where we are?
Can you fall off of this edge?
And that's kind of what I was saying. Like, he's so close, but he's just so far. It's ridiculous.
Hey
Okay,
guys,
this is what it is, though.
I don't want to interrupt, but we have a new member, Neophyte IRL, and we just did a voice verification. Like he's cool. He's read the welcome, and he can get PC verified.
He's not necessarily new. He usually hangs out with us. We know him.
Cool.
Although,
I was just saying, we did the process. If anybody wants to go ahead and give him the role, but I digress. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys or anything. Just trying to welcome him in.
Welcome, Neophyte. Didn't know you weren't here.
Real fast, I want to explain what it clearly is. So, 2002, he starts looking at geocentrism. He has a PhD in like theology. So, I mean, he's like far down the Catholic road, right? And he starts looking into the Catholic history. He's like, wait a minute, bro, this is crazy. Like, it looks like the Catholic Church was right. The earth doesn't move. So he's coming from that perspective. Well, you know, they thought it was evolved. So then he starts looking into it scientifically, quote unquote. He starts looking into the purported scientific evidence in academic sources. And he starts finding out quickly, like, whoa, they're hiding this. This is before we get the curated version, and then we're like spoiled kids and we feel entitled. This dude had to go find it. So he was looking through all of it, talking to all these physicists, studying, reading all these books for many, many years. And then he starts releasing and revealing the information. He starts talking to people who admit it to him behind the scenes but won't say it publicly. He's getting, like, you know, just attacked and ostracized and all this crazy stuff. So then he goes around on tours and starts doing it, makes an awesome documentary, he does all this. And then Flat Earth comes around. And so it's like he would have been fighting this battle the whole time and still have been wrong. And so it's like a tough pill for him to swallow, I think, to even entertain it, because he's like dug his feet in so hard to have to stand strong in the face of all that ostracism for 20 years. Now all of a sudden he has to be like, oh, I stood in so strong and it took a lot for me to be able to stand here. Turns out I'm standing in the wrong place. You see what I'm saying? Like, so if you look at it from that perspective, you can kind of understand it.
Oh, but so close to the right place, just so slightly wrong, right? Like, is it like sunken cost thing then? Like, he's gone so far?
Yeah, sunken cost fallacy, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because that's what he speaks out against the most, is like that all of these physicists and stuff, it's the sunken cost fallacy, right? Because of their professions and all their time and their reputation. And it's ironic, it's kind of also applying to him.
But like, if he can be introduced to the community through you and meet people who, like him, have been otherwise ostracized for similar but not identical beliefs, maybe we can finally work him into the community that way. I mean, I don't know, it's worth a shot. Dude's a legend.
Here's the problem that the scientific community, you know, the pseudoscience community, is looking at. They're actually facing, for the first time maybe ever in the last 3, 4, 5 years, stationary plane flat earthers who can debunk within 30 minutes 500 years of heliocentrism lies. We can literally get up in front of people and within 30 minutes debunk everything that's happened over the last 500 years. And that is a tremendous thing to strive for. It's also a great responsibility on our part that we can tear apart intellectually everything that people have been told for the last 500 years.
Bro, within 30 seconds after.
Well, you could, but not me. Okay, you could, but not me yet.
I could take 30 shots and do that at this point. It's like almost boring.
Well, okay. I'll work toward 50 seconds. How's that?
I'll give you 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Currently, Jim needs about 3 hours to do the same, though. You know, so it's respectable.
Uh-huh.
Well, all your debates are 3-hour debates, so you do a good job, man. It just takes you a little bit longer than you, right?
I'm looking at, you know, Jorge and I are talking about doing a real long one sometime. I'm looking forward to that one. I would really enjoy, just for the sake of argument, a 6-hour debate, but I got to find somebody first.
Are you sure Jim isn't just playing with his food for 2.5 hours?
Well, he makes a point to go on cam, so yeah, I can say that I'm sure that I know that he's not eating food.
Well, I'm enjoying my blueberries right now, so you know I'm eating right now. How'd you know that?
A diet of blueberry and Glober arguments. Yeah, but no, I was listening to what you guys have said over the last 20 minutes, half an hour. I think the one thing that's kind of annoying for me is about having to deal with all of these. Obviously, there's two tiers of brain dead Glober, right? You've got the anti-flat earthers. We know they're brain dead, but they're kind of a special breed of obsessive brain dead. And then you get the really low IQ. Oh, climb a tree, all that kind of shit stuff. And I think what's frustrating for me is that having to deal with the relentless monotony of those really brain dead, like level 1 Globers, kind of intellectually stifles this community, because you're not, like, obviously there are guys here who have gone to the really, let's just say, deep intellectual topics and really understand it. But I feel like there's so many more people in this community who have that potential, but they're being distracted by these silly climatry arguments.
Yeah, I agree, because I think the part where it really makes a difference is where you familiarize yourself with the more complex, nuanced, higher level points. That's how we actually progress. Like for the good of mankind type of thing, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, like we're shattering a paradigm, but we do need to kind of piece one back together, I think.
Well, now I'm more of a watch the world burn kind of guy.
Okay.
Well, because if it's fucked, right? Pardon my French. If it's fucked, then it needs to be burned. Like whether we can replace it instantly or in 5 years, 10 years doesn't really matter. Like you have to kind of get rid of the you have to stop the rot really as soon as you can, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is if you start right now, it's going to be longer than 10 years. Like there's just so much there. I don't know. We've already kind of destroyed it. It's really just about waiting for it to be seen. So it's like, it's been destroyed, and people are wearing VR goggles. So they just got to take them off,
Yeah. Well, it's very much like They Live, isn't it? Like they've all got their globe eyes on, but they don't want to put on the flat goggles. And oh shit, it is flat.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. That's where me and Bob really vibed. Like we just wanted to figure out, because it's like, bro, there's so much that's there to be discovered that would like truly change the way we understand like physics, and it's just completely neglected because no one even knows to look in that direction. So it's like there's only a select few of us that know that direction's a thing, and when you really like soak that in, that's pretty like significant. If you look at the whole history of man and trying to figure physics out and stuff and how the world works, to be in a position in a small minority of people that are able to actually start to figure out some of the bigger pieces is really kind of an honor in a way. And I think it comes with responsibility. I think that him and I just like agreed on that. We didn't really care if people were going to get triggered or whatever. It's like, well, we just want to figure it out. I mean, if you don't want to, that's cool. But like, can you not burn us at the stake, please?
To respond to what Crypto said earlier about letting the world burn, you don't have to let it burn. You just have to incorporate their method, which is don't try to convince the current generation, convince the next generation. So what we need to be doing is educating our children so that they can educate our grandchildren.
Yeah, well, I'm actually literally trying to spearhead like homeschool curriculum, then utilize stuff like Dave's app, where we have lifelong teachers. We actually are able to pay them. Look, I'll just tell you, like I was talking about this in the VIP after party of the summit. So like, and I'm pretty serious about this. Instead of just like talking about how we found out what's wrong, we need to fix the problem. And then you just nailed it. The solution is to actually set up Generation Alpha, So Generation Alpha is this next generation right now. And according to some estimates, by 2025, there will be more people born within Generation Alpha than any other previous generation recorded. And it's fitting that they're called Alpha because they're going to actually have to lead the new school of thought. They have a lot of responsibility, and they're also going to grow up in a world that almost everyone here can remember when the internet wasn't really a thing, and they're going to have no idea of such a world. Like, they don't even understand that. So anyway, all that to say, there's a lot of responsibility on the generation that, let's say millennials are around that. We lived through 9/11 and discovering the Federal Reserve and watching, like, the crazy mortgage collapse and election. We can actually say the election stuff now, by the way. YouTube changed their policy. We watched like this election psyop where we watched the government be like middle finger to the people. Like, normally they hide it, but then they were just like, yeah, this is all me just screwing you over. And we watched all this crazy stuff, right? We watched weapons of mass. We watched everything be alive. And so we're like a real callous, desensitized generation. And you can look at it like black pill, or you can look at it like, well, we had that many opportunities for awakening. And now we are able to kind of help the next generation start way ahead of where we did. So it can go one of two ways, and they're both pretty extreme. And all that to say, the solution is homeschool curriculum. And so what I'm trying to do, and I'm in contact with lots of teachers and stuff, is to create a homeschool curriculum where the primary objective is to teach children how to think and how to reason and logic. So sound reasoning. And then teaching them hands-on things that actually mean something, like how to garden and going out to the world for field trips and stuff like this, right? And one of the main problems we have is people can't afford to send their children, or to not send their children to public school, meaning they can't, both parents have to work for their current bill. Now, most of them could sacrifice some lifestyle or whatever, but anyway, my idea is we actually create a company, probably a PMA, meaning it has no government oversight, where we can actually supply funds to families enrolled in the homeschool curriculum, where it can kind of cover part of what the mother was bringing in, and they can stay at home and raise their children. And one of the things they have to do is volunteer within their local community that they'll take the children on this field trip, or they'll chaperone this field trip. Or if they can teach a certain subject, like all the people in that community, they meet at the park once a week and they teach this lesson. And for this, they get paid enough to kind of make it feasible that they can homeschool their children. If we can create something where all the mothers can stay at home and raise their children, and then we can provide the homeschool curriculum without the upfront cost of textbooks, because you can just print it off and have it digital. If we can actually create this system, we would actually win. If we do that and teach our children how to garden and have permaculture and electric culture, we win. That's how we actually win. The battle's not won or lost yet, even if Flat Earth comes out. It's about what the next generation does. I know that was a lot, but anyway. Do you guys think that sounds crazy?
That sounds beautiful.
No, not at all. Actually, I had a question. Have you talked to or reached out to Josh over at FEB about that too? Because I know he was kind of doing the same thing. We're thinking about the same idea. Founded Earth Bros or Flat Earth Bros.
Yeah, that's one person on my list of people. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but I have a few that already want to do it. But we have to all come together. And the part that I've never heard anyone address is making it feasible for families to do it. You have to get the mom out of the workforce. So how do you do that? I think if you can pay the homeschooling mothers, now there have to be some type of verification that they're actually teaching their children the right curriculum, and that's where it kind of sucks, because then it's like the very thing we don't want to do, is like you have to teach them this and this and this. But they have to be doing, obviously people just sign up and get free money. You can't do that. But if there's some type of way to actually shoot the family a little bit of money, obviously you can't fully replace a good paying annual salary, but if you can give them like a bit of weekly money, even if it's in, bi-weekly or monthly, where they can afford to quit their job and frankly do what women's job actually is, which is to take care of their children. I think that's something that would is very beautiful. I think that would be maybe like the best thing that we could possibly do is find a way, because like we don't want to. Another thing, I'm ranting a lot, but I think this is like I'm like super passionate about this. So like I want to make. I'm in the process of talking to people about making children's books and children's cartoons because there's no good entertainment. And then also I'm talking to I'm plan on talking to like the Amanda Volmers and David Avocado Wolfs of the world and creating a network where you can replace doctors, because when you have a child that's like a baby or under 2 or 3, like it really freaks you out if something's wrong with them, and you'll cave to like uh, you know, synthetic medicine and stuff. So like if we can create a network to protect our children health wise, education wise, entertainment wise, and food wise, then we win. So that should be our actual goal. And by the way, I love you guys. I love life, and I would never kill myself.
Yep, absolutely, dog.
Dude, I hear you right there.
Because this is dangerous stuff, man. This is dangerous to them. I'm talking about a PMA that undermines every single avenue of attack that they currently have in place for our children. Obviously they're not going to be happy about that.
No, isn't that the truth?
Because like the last survey in 2022, take it with a grain of salt, but they asked people if they think the Earth's flat. 11% of people said the Earth's flat in the survey, and 18% of people said they don't think the Earth goes around the sun. If you take 11% of America, I mean, you got like 35 million people. Say that every flat earther in America alone, and that number is low, let's be real, say 10%, 35 million, say they all give $1 a month to what I just laid out. That's $35 million a month that can't be taxed. It's a private membership association. Think about what we could do for the future generation with $35 million a month. $1 a month, bro.
That's $12 a year.
Everyone in here can give $1 a month.
You should find one off the street.
Like, if you can't donate $1 a month, I don't even think you need to be on Discord. You have other things to worry about.
Electricity. What's to say if they try to do something like they did with Tartaria to us, like the Georgia Guidestones, where they want to limit people.
I don't know. I don't think that would ever be justification not to fight till the end or something.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
Something else I was talking to Dave about at the VIP. I'm like, so Dave, I know you know a lot about in-group preference. So we need to, we need to do that with True Earth, where it's like, when I've started a business selling, I'm not even going to give some ideas away, but and I'm only hiring True Earthers, and we're only having True Earther teachers, and we're only having True Earther graphic designers for the books and illustrators. So we should do that. We should actually do that, because it's, think about it. Think about what happens when you're a truther. You're like, okay, I'm not going to give my child bioweapons from the second they're born. I found out that the cleaners we use are toxic. We're not going to be consuming this poisonous food and these poisonous drinks. And then what do? They go to Amazon to buy the natural cleaner. Well, wouldn't it just be better if they went to another truther to do that? So if we could all just work together, and all the stuff that the truthers agree on are like a kind of a necessity once you discover some of these truths, and instead of us buying it through Amazon, let's buy it through each other, hire each other, and then create kind of like a true resistance. I mean, these are big ideas, but obviously I'm not going to individually be able to do any of it. So, like, we're going to have to, like, find some way to all put our differences aside and actually just, like, do it.
And it's hard to coordinate truthers to do anything. To go to a stream, like the actual real life meetups are hard to organize, I assume.
They are.
So then to get like focused, directed people with free time to coordinate at a certain set to make progress. I mean, dude, we're figuring that out without a NASA. Hard.
Yeah, but this is actually involving money. So as sad as it is, when people can make money, they'll pay attention. But just say if I hit up Oakley and I said I could offer him an $80,000 salary a year to do what he's doing, to talk about flat Earth, he'd be my best friend overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah. I think that's the glitch. If we can find a way to send money on behalf of each family to help ease the inconvenience of the mother not working, then boom, there you go. And technically, you can do the father if that floats your boat. You know, I strongly suggest that's not the case, but I think men are supposed to work 6 days a week, and women are supposed to take care of their children, which is technically a job. But either way, yeah. What do you guys think about that? I mean, how far would that be if we create like a truther curriculum, and technically the parents can pick and choose what parts of the curriculum they teach? Like, I don't agree with this. Well, like we have three different interpretations of the container. We don't have to teach that, to be honest. You need to just teach how to think, but they can pick and choose the curriculum, print it off, teach their children, let their children excel. As their children show, like, oh, he has an aptitude for understanding electricity, and he enjoys it, we should, like, let him flourish in terms of electricity, right? He could be the next Nikola Tesla, and we have, like, all kinds of information all the way up to the most complicated stuff. So when they get, 18, they can be, knocking it out of the park. Or they're just, like, putting us to shame. We didn't start till we were 30-something, most of us, so 20, something, 20. So anyway, I don't know. I think if we can come up with a creative way to pay the families to homeschool, I mean, we become a real serious threat to the system at that point.
I would agree.
The number one excuse I hear is that they can't afford to homeschool. I'll be blunt here, though. I think a lot of people like just handing their children off and not having to watch them for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could view it as a challenge, knowing that a good portion of what they teach in public school is nonsense, and then sending your own child there to save money, but accepting the challenge that you're going to have to do an extra careful job raising your child so they don't grow up to be a idiot because you sent them to public school. If you could look at it as a challenge, like a challenge that you'd want to undertake to a certain degree.
And I agree with it that you're probably right. Like, there are going to be some parents who want to hand their kid off, but I think the majority of them, if they are doing that, it's because they need both parents to work to afford a house and 2 cars and whatever they got. And a lot of it is by design, like back when our parents were growing up, they were possibly way better situation to have one parent work. The dad works, the mom stays at home. It's a lot harder nowadays.
No, I get it. Like Kai works, but I mean, I'm going to do everything in my power that she's not going to be very soon. And that means cutting down our living expenses. That means minimizing what we have to pay for. I mean,
and that's the other part of it, and that's the other side of it. You nailed it, because a lot of people nowadays, they just want material things so much. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, they say they can't afford it, but no, you can't afford it with all of the unnecessary things that you've chosen to pay for.
Exactly.
You don't need 3,500 square feet and 3 stories for 2 kids.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's ridiculous. And we have one car right now, so.
Yeah, and especially if you're able to swing it with just one parent working, then you don't necessarily need 2 cars. So,
Well, and look at
just
this. Like, I plan on starting businesses and having Kai help me out with some of the logistics. So even like, well, your wife can still do stuff in addition to taking care of the children, like inventory for products that you're shipping out or whatever it is. But getting them in the house.
Yep.
Now where they're feeding all of their energy into someone else,
Yep.
In my experience, I don't know if you know, Austin, but I've got a business that works with children. In my experience, children always want to help. And I'm not saying you should get them in to be labourers at 5 years old, but once they get to 8, 9, 10 years old, there's no reason they can't be helping if they want to,
Yes, I agree. And I just say, especially boys.
For them too.
Will be helping with the garden. I plan on teaching my children like this. When they misbehave, their punishment is they don't get to go help dad outside with the garden. Where they interpret it as something they're excited about, and then they get
that's a good idea.
Dang, that's actually really good.
Wait, you mean I have to sit inside and play video games all day? That's so cruel.
Yeah, but nobody.
Awesome,
video games, right?
Or their desserts are going to be fruits. It's you're not supposed to talk to your mother that way. If you keep talking to your mother that way, you're getting no peaches. You're getting no dessert. I don't get to eat fruit. You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty cool. Good idea.
Because I have a few friends who have recently started a homestead, and they said dude, they can't it's annoying how much their son wants to go out with them and help. If they don't know anything else, they just want to be like their dad.
It is crazy too, though, because the kids are somewhat of a liability when it comes to the resource of time, and having that second parent be able to help out or whatever. But there is that tipping point where they get to a certain age, and that all of a sudden becomes an asset. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I just have 1 6-month-old girl right now, but we want 5 to 7 children. What I will say, it's another thing that's missing is what was here for so long, for all of history, is community. We saw the most egregious version of this the last few years, right? I mean, you can't even talk to your family and all this nonsense. But there should be, you actually use Dave's app for this, but there's 100 families within 20 miles of you, and all the mothers can help each other out. It's oh, well, I'm taking them on the field trip this week, and my mom used to give me $20 when I went on field trip. It's okay, well, here's $5. You give it to your mom, give it to the teacher, which is another mom, and she made this awesome, super healthy, from a local garden lunch for everyone to eat. Instead of when I went and I'm I can't wait to eat McDonald's. There's all kinds of different versions of things you could do where the women are working together in a community. Basically, that way you have interaction with other children, and you're taking some of the pressure off of the women. They occasionally have a break, and they have a team. They have people to bond with and learn with, and blah, blah, blah. Community is a huge portion of it. We need to bring that back. What's the famous saying about a tribe, a village raising a child or something?
It takes a village.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It might be tough to get to that point initially, but yeah, dude, if we can get the community up like that, I mean, that is a huge step.
I think openness is what people need, is to open their hearts. I feel like it's like a block. Some people are just blocked spiritually in that matter.
Bro, whatever we don't need that many people.
Whatever you do, forgive me. Whatever you do, don't open your hearts because that might be kind of bloody. So just keep it be close.
Thank you, brother. That is true. Yes, dude. Like, look at the Flat Earth app. There's 105,000 people on it. So go to your app right now if you have it and see how many blue dots are around you. You don't need 5,000 people to have a local community that helps raise children. You need 20. So I think
I just assumed it wasn't that well spread out, but I'm going to check right now, actually.
Yeah, go ahead and check, bro. 105,000. You'd be surprised, probably.
Wait, the Flat Earth app? There's a bunch of people around many places. Yeah.
How would I check that? What button do I click?
Go to Friend Finder, the little hand shaking. Now let's just say the obvious. Just because someone's a flat earther doesn't mean you want them around your children. Like, obviously you have to vet these people, but you can just go to a meetup. Dude, I will say where I'm at right now in South Carolina, dude, when we have meetups, there's just like awesome, super base families everywhere and children, beautiful, organic children running around everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like a very, very empowering thing. I mean, this is like 7 families, and you're like, oh, this like one room could change the world. So imagine us doing that everywhere. I think the men all come together and they help each other with their gardens. We're meeting at Austin's today. We're going to help him build his garden. You know, we're meeting at Crypto's when he leaves the totalitarian state he currently resides in, and we're helping him build a garden. You know, we're putting up the
sounds good, man.
We're helping integrate copper into his electric culture garden.
Dude, there's got to be such a high percentage of like good, strong, valued individuals in this community, you know, like just by going by the blue dots. Even like, I know what you're saying, like you don't want just any person around your kids, and it is super important to meet the people first, but I would be willing to bet that there's a very high percentage of super cool base people who get it, you know. It's just the people who aren't like really attracted to it, you know.
Like with school right now, say you go to like a school gathering and you see all the parents, like there are certain parents you don't really vibe with. There are certain kids from those parents that you don't necessarily want your kids hanging out with all the time. But that's going to happen inevitably. I mean, so there's really not even a threat of that, because you have the local community that's homeschooling their truthers. And then it's like, I vibe more with this mom than the other one. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's not even really a problem. I mean, the only problem is thinking it can't be done. That's pretty much it. I can assure you that it can be done, and you can have a nationwide one, and in fact, it could extend into an international one.
That's when we win.
That's right. This is the actual solution.
Well, there are already communities like this, not specifically flat Earth focused.
Communes?
Sorry?
Communes?
Not really. I mean, there's a town in South Africa called Arania, which has got a similar kind of philosophy. You have to be Afrikaans to live there. But they basically just got sick of the South African government, and they were like, you guys are all assholes, we're going to do our own thing. And then they did very, very well, and obviously got called all sorts of names and shut down, and, oh, you can't have a community with a shared set of values, that's racist, you know, like all this shit. But, I mean, fundamentally, they did it, and it works. You know, the other thing you're going to have to mention, of course, is that you're going to have to defend that community, because it's when the authoritarian regimes realize, oh, these guys have figured out actually how to live outside of our influence, then of course they're going to try and stop it, right? So But that's probably a phase 2 problem, right?
Yeah, and what I've discovered is the way they try to stop it is with local regulations and ordinances, and that's the next part that you integrate. So I mean, I like hand selected a good amount of the people of the speakers of the summit, and I did it in such a way that I'm like, this pretty much solves all the problems. And one of them was Brandon Biggs, who was talking about like law. So it's like they'll say, "Oh, well, you need a permit to live on your property." Do you though? You actually don't. As soon as you just file one piece of paperwork, they disappear. They pass a new ordinance where it's like, you have to any car that's been parked for longer than 5 days on a trailer. Does it though? So I think that this would solve most of it. I mean, sure, if it got to such a point where they rolled out with physical threat, I think that's much less feasible in America. I can't really attest to other places, but
Wow, there's like 50 blue dots within 5 miles of me.
yeah, bro.
That's pretty crazy.
And you know one thing that flat earthers are doing, bro? Making babies.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I guess
4. I just had my 4th.
I guess it's just more likely because we're like physically capable.
and mentally too. And there's a whole mental thing about it too.
Well, the fact that we're like we're a little bit edgy, aren't we? Like, and get chicks like that stuff. They're like, oh, he's not boring. He's this is interesting about him, and flat Earth fits that category, right?
Yeah, a bunch of people are like, it's so hard to get a girl if you're a flat earther. Like, I did not have that experience. I had to fight temptation.
What'd you say? People say it's so hard. What?
To get girls.
I strongly disagree. I mean, maybe like in public where other girls can hear them. Let's just say it shouldn't be your lead. So, hey, my name's Austin. I'm a flat earther. You have beautiful eyes. Or something,
There's more to life than just flat Earth in a relationship.
If you're a strong man with morals, and a woman falls in love with you, she'll just turn into a flat earther, bro. Now, if you discover it post long relationship, that might be a little more tricky. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think we're really close to like putting together this like incredible blueprint. That's another thing I'm wanting to do is like a free downloadable PDF that gives you a full blueprint of how to have like a sustainable homestead and the most cost-effective way to do it. And if you combine permaculture and electroculture, and then like the most efficient way to stock up on like truly organic seeds, yeah, I mean, you're good. And then, of course, if you can do electricity, which I think you can actually have a version of solar panels that work at nighttime, because what are solar panels? Well, they use electromagnetic radiation. Well, I mean, there's a ton of that everywhere, even at nighttime. So if you can make a blueprint that solves all these problems, you use a vortex to structure your water. So ideally, you're actually going to get the water from underneath the earth, but if not, you can actually use municipal water supply, and you can structure the water with a vortex, which is crazy, huh? So, yeah,
Tell us more about that.
There's really no excuse.
The vortex, is that with sound?
Yeah, so it's like an adapter you can even put on like a hose. It just makes it spin in a vortex like a toroid, and it structures the water.
Okay.
It's very cool. You can look up Dr. Bear. B-A-R-E.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. I saw that. I know what you're talking about. I didn't know exactly what it did to it. I was kind of watching it without listening.
Yeah, it just restructures the water.
Like Dr. Bear is in like the animal?
Well, it's spelled Barre, but it's pronounced bear.
Dude, permaculture is so cool. Like, for some reason, that type of efficiency, like using everything to get the job done, it makes me like so happy for some reaon. It's like
incredible.
Like,
you combine that with electroculture, dude. It's like fascinating, bro.
yeah, I gotta look into that more. I think I heard you talking about it recently, but I didn't really understand it yet.
Well, simply like you can make your food, like your crop production, increase significantly with quality and quantity and size using. Why are my lights on? Using electricity, basically, like copper. You can literally just put little copper coils in your garden. Sorry. So yeah, I don't know. It's very fascinating.
Dude, no way.
Obviously,
really?
one of the main. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. And it just seems to have been like known throughout the ancient world. And so people went and tested it, and it works. It does work. It's like provable that it works, right? So it's not like speculation or anything. But Dr. Bear is a good person to listen to. There's quite a few. I think it's like Cultivate and Elevate is another guy. And I'm just now kind of starting down this journey, but then permaculture in and of itself, you can, if you've never seen it, you can check out the documentary Back to Eden Gardening. So you can look that up on YouTube. Back to Eden Gardening. It's like a few years old. It has like 5 million views.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, very fascinating documentary. And it's basically like, you know, everyone thinks the way you make a garden is you dig into the ground. So like you rape the ground and then you just pull stuff out and rape the ground or throw some soil on top of it or whatever. From some other region, that's not what you do. That's not the way this place was made. Honestly, just like the scriptures say, and that's not why I'm saying this, is because it's the results that we're talking about, obviously, right? But you let the ground rest every 7 years.
Oh yeah, I've heard this.
Crazy? What's so crazy is the plant. The crops actually show you that every 7 years, if you keep growing, they don't grow as well. Everything starts coming later. It stops growing efficiently. It's fascinating. So you pick out different plots of land to grow on, right? And you let that land rest every 7 years. But anyway, the thing is, like with the soil, that it's the best soil in the world is naturally there. So if you go to a forest that's like just like abandoned, basically, right, for many years, that has the best soil in the world. It's like basically tree limbs and leaves and stuff that fall and break apart over time, and they make an incredible soil. And it's like sentient. It's insane. So like what it does is
temperature control, right?
Yes, dude. It's temperature controlled. So if it's too cold, it keeps underneath the ground warmer, and if it's too hot, it keeps it cool. Like so much so that if you lift up, if you put your hands in it or shovel and like dug up a piece of it, steam starts to roll out of it.
That's where I can see,
exactly.
That's where I can tell. It's so cool.
That's like
so crazy.
Gaia.
Dude, this gets so cool. So like it's climate control, and also it regulates water based on its need. It's sentient, dude. So like and it comes from trees, which seemingly are sentient too. That's a whole other thing. But anyway, so say it's like it doesn't rain a lot that year. It'll know that and retain the water it needs. If it rains too much, it displaces water. It doesn't have a consistent ratio of retainment and displacement. It does it based on what it needs. It's very fascinating. This is just, again, natural foliage. It takes a few years for it to become a thing. But you can also use, you want to use the trees in your region. So you could call a tree company and say someone hired them to cut down a bunch of their trees. They don't realize the value in it. They're going to shred it and dump it. And then you're like, hey, you can drop it off at my house. Well, it saves them 10 miles. They're like, okay, And they're going to come bring you the world's best soil for free in your region. But you want it to sit there for a while, and you don't want to put it on really poor soil and then rush it. But anyway, another part so fascinating is you guys know why organic food is so expensive is because they don't spray it for weeds. So they have to pay labor to go actually pull all the weeds. That's one of the reasons that organic food's so expensive. But like with this soil, you don't have to like. It's not like hard manual labor to pull the weeds. You can literally just go like brush your foot against it. The weed will fall out. Like a 3-year-old can go weed your garden. You can pull out a rake and just lightly move it over, and all the weeds just fall right out. Just fall out, like they're not even in there, because it's such a loose, like natural soil. And also, you don't have to spray them with pesticides, because since it retains the water so efficiently, the vegetables, the crops are so hydrated that pests literally can't eat them because they drown. So it's it naturally regulates pests. And so now you don't have to worry about like the weeds, the hard labor with weeds, and you don't have to worry about pests. And they're just way bigger, healthier, more hydrated vegetables and fruits. Like, isn't that incredible? And they said the first thing you want to do is grow fruit trees if possible. And what you do with the fruit trees is you don't let them grow too tall, so that when they're ready, the fruit just falls from the tree, but it doesn't fall far enough to bruise the fruit. And then you just go out there and you just grab the fruit once it's on the ground.
That's the best time to eat them.
Yep.
Usually.
Very fascinating stuff. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg. I want to create this like foolproof homestead blueprint of electroculture, permaculture, blah, blah, blah. Show the most of like the cost effective way to do it, because there's so many things. Like permaculture, like you said, is utilizing everything that you have, so that you don't, it's not like crazy expensive. And then showing how to get like water, like using rainwater, digging in the ground, blah, 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 blah. And if you have to use some municipal water supply, structuring your water. Yeah, I don't know. I find this stuff very fascinating. If we can create a blueprint for this, and then we can homeschool our children and then give them entertainment and books, it's like, boom, dude, we're solid. And then you just like, you kind of maybe revert back in time in a way where you like are marrying your children off. Like, obviously it's up to them, but they grow up around the people they're going to marry in trusted families. And then your family can grow up on your land. It's like, oh, you want to take my daughter? You can live on my land. We'll build you a place right over here. Or oh, you're gonna get married. Look, you can live right over here. And then you just have a close knit community that all works together. And
yeah, man, all on the same land, like multi-generational living.
Yep,
That'd be fire, man.
Yeah, bro.
I've been wanting this so bad for like years, and just so hard for me to get it going for whatever reason. I got to really buckle down and figure it out.
Well, it's difficult for me too. And now I got that 6-month-old. It's like it's time to go. So I'm looking for land, and I'm looking in different ways to start businesses and blah blah blah. And I'm interested in working with lots of people. Like, so anyone who wants to be business partners, I have like 10 ideas for businesses that I know will succeed. So I'm open to like coordinating with a lot of people, but ideally, some people can have a little bit of capital to help, and they're serious about investing. But I'm only working with true earthers.
That's the only way you can do it.
Yep, true earthers that believe in God.
Yeah, man, that's awesome idea, and the in-group preference thing too. Just makes too much sense not to do.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the really cool things too that's coming for Dave's Flat Earth app too, is the whole looking for a job or looking to hire or whatever too is really cool.
Yeah, or like looking for a house, you look up for realtors in your area, and you get a bunch of Flat Earth realtors and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. He said a lot.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to derail you at all with it. I was just saying, like, I saw that app feature coming. I thought it was really cool.
I just talked forever, so whoever wants to talk.
Well, you got a lot of good ideas. You were talking about organic. Yeah. What do they do with organic? You said they don't put a pesticide or a herbicide on it, but do they do pesticides or anything else?
They're not supposed to, no.
I mean, you can use natural.
Whether or not they do, I think there is some thing that they can do that they still technically are organic, even though they spray some stuff, but they're not supposed to.
You can do like companion planting. You can like plant bait crops basically that like the pests like more than what you actually want. and so you're growing stuff that's just for them to come feed on. You can do a lot of different
Dude,
things.
if you can get your plants super hydrated, bro, they can't eat it; they'll drown. And then